Does it ask you to include your audio? Because this is the first time we've had to stream off of this rig, so I'm wondering if we're going to have the same fun and games. No. That's alright. I am just about to jump on myself. Yeah, no, you're not coming through. Yeah. It's a brand new install. This is true. Right, hold up. App options, manage app. Is there an... Hi Doverkin, we are just dealing with a slight technical lack of Tom audio. Yes, we are trying to deal with the fact that I've changed Xbox, so we do not appear to have Tom's audio. So we're just checking to see what setting it hasn't set up. Two seconds, I was trying to sort out I was checking all the Xbox settings. First. Yep. Yep, and come back in again. I'm doing fine, Doverkin. Hello, chat. Oh, all OT, thank you for the follow. We are experiencing technical gremlins. I've changed the Xbox that I'm streaming on since last Sunday, so we are having the fun and games of getting Tom back into audio. So bear with us for a moment while we figure this out. I mean, that's assuming, of course, you guys can hear me fine. He's back. It's not. You invited me to play Space Engineers. We're already doing that. Dear, oh dear. Yeah, it's been long enough that we're both struggling to remember that one. I've got everything. Set up exact correctly. What's going on in Twitch? Yeah. Right, chat, please let us know if you spontaneously start hearing a Tom. I have just checked through all of the settings and everything is as it should be. So we are just having a weird day with Twitch right now. Yes, you do. Of course you haven't. Yeah, you just keep talking randomly. Yeah. Yeah, you may have a very one-sided conversation from the stream tonight, chat, whilst me and Tom figure out what the heck's going on. Right. What did you go out into? Oh, you took the bike. Okay. The dune buggy that's got 3 massive cargo containers attached to the back of it now. It's really fun to drive when it's empty. True. Right then, so priorities for this stream. We need to actually get on with what we were planning on doing last week before that thing decided to have a complete fit. Well, part of it is still down a hole in the ground, I think. Yeah, so last week we had a problem. That problem is still down the hole. We'll fish that out eventually. Just because it's a lot of parts. Oop, and I'm about to run out of hydrogen.
Fuel low.
It's not splat into the floor. That would, as much as the stream would probably find that a hilarious way of starting the stream. Let's not. Where's my ladder? There's my ladder. Right.
Fuel critical.
Let's top everything up if we can. Hey, we probably can. Right. Of course it's not switched on, is it? Of course it isn't. Yes, Dovahkiin. What can I do you for? Oh, of course the vehicle's on shutdown, isn't it? There we go. Forgot I put it on recharge. For once, I actually bothered to recharge the batteries on the Ripsaw. Right, Dovahkiin, can you actually hear me at least in the in chat? Can you at least hear me on stream? That would be something worth picking up. Oh, awesome! Congratulations on hunting a Series X down. They are slowly making it into the country, it seems. But you've got to be quick when you do find one, because they do not stick around for long. Right. As I was saying, main job for this week is to do everything that we forgot to do or couldn't do last week. So we need to get the printer up and running. Awesome. You can at least hear half the conversation then. I mean, Tom doesn't say much of, you know, import anyway. Nah, Tom's alright. Tom is a very necessary part of this conversation. Hang on a second. Well, that's annoying. Right. That's what you get for not checking after you've gone and tidied up a whole bunch of rubbish left in the world. Drop. Right then. No, his internet connection is fine. It's literally, he hasn't been given the option by Twitch to include his chat. We have set everything up exactly the same way we normally do. I've just double checked and all of the settings at my end are identical to how we had them set up on the Xbox One, and for some unknown reason, oh, this is going to be dodgy as anything, it's just not giving him the option to include his audio. So what we will have to do is what we did last time, which is spend a good half an hour or so just messing about with settings. Right, for your benefit stream, Tom is basically fulfilling the role of little devil sitting on your shoulder, whispering bad ideas into your ear. He's doing a very good job of it as well. And he's loving every second of it. Behave. Well, I'm assuming that all OT is there, as he only followed at 25.2. So I'm assuming that all OT is there as well. Though they haven't said anything, which is fine. It is absolutely fine to just lurk. I have no problem with that at all. Indeed. And... right. Ow. Absolutely didn't forget to pick up the parts I queued for construction. So anyway, yeah, I've sent Tom to go and refill ice because we were completely out on the base, and most of the vehicles were starting to get low. He obviously can't take his massive mining rig out because he doesn't currently have a drill rig attached to the front of it. In fact, it doesn't have a drill rig attached to any of it, so yeah, it's not really a rig anymore. It's more of a mobile refinery at this point. It does. It is currently being used just as an extension of our base's refinery, really. Oh, you lie, Space Engineers, you didn't give me all the parts I asked for. So, yeah, so Tom is out restocking our ice. We've also had a look at our resources, and before we can get construction going properly on any of the vehicles, we are going to at least need a trip to our cobalt mine. We've got, so that's the next priority. But once we've got cobalt and silver, we should... Yeah, Survivor takes some practice, obviously. There's a reason it's currently taking me 16 weeks to teach Tom, and he's still just about getting his head around the basics, I think is a good way of putting it. Yep, yeah, he's good at the mining part of it. He's got that bit of survival down. Yeah, so what Tom was saying is he does get a little confused with survival building, which is fair enough. It took me a while to figure out how I wanted to do it, so... oh, we are full. Right, okay. Whee! Yes. You mean the mining vehicle that we got stuck in the hole? Yeah. It does, yeah. To be honest, you will be better off taking the dune buggy out or the ripsaw. Both have significantly better carry capacity than the mining truck. Oh, absolutely. It will do. It absolutely will do. Yeah, for once, you've joined the game and that's the problem, Tom. That was it. You joined and it wasn't night time. Your game didn't know what to do with you joining during daylight. Back to base. Am I going to have to start leaving road signs for you at our various mines? Normally I would agree with you, but most vehicles in Space Engineers do not enjoy driving on grids. They prefer voxels. Oh, God. Chat, I am sparing you from Tom's jokes right now. This glitch is saving all of you from Tom's jokes, because normally he behaves himself really well because I asked him to for the stream. But now he knows, now he knows that no one can hear him. He can misbehave. I'll set Artemis on you. You know that's only a phone call away. Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. Okay, so maybe I won't be setting Artemis on him. Maybe a delayed setting of Artemis. Right, so we now have our 3D printer working. Yeah, we now actually... Yeah, we now have the print head for our 3D printer. So, what we now need to do is actually set it up. Right. So, I need to group these pistons. So we need outs and downs. And the easiest way of getting the right pistons is to drop them below functional. Should I ground that one below functional, or did I grind them? No, oh, God knows. Oh, don't grind down the rotor, grind down the piston. Right. So, the pistons that I want to rename, so that I can find them easily in the console, I'm just going to grind them down because we've got a lot of pistons on this grid. So, if I now search for incomplete, these are our printer, piston, out. Printer, piston, out. There we go. That's fine. It's not like we've, you know, got a problem with stone. Ah, pistons. There we go. Yeah, in terms of the resources that we actually managed to recover from the mining rig last time round, we've still got something like 15,000 unprocessed stone. Yes, it is a bit of a shame that it fell over. Right, so now that I've got the out pistons grouped up and named correctly, we can weld them all back up. There we go. And now we just do the same thing with the down. No, that's... How is that grinding the projector through the piston? Well done, space engineers. At some point I need to man up and reconnect the Ripsaw to its charging dock. Otherwise we're going to get to needing it and it won't be charged. Dovahkiin, you don't need to start everything with my name. Just ask if you're going to ask something. I have got chat next to my main screen on a separate screen. So, if you ask something, I can see. Right. I mean, if it works, it works. What are you doing? Just realised. Oh, you took the mining truck out, didn't you? Okay. Oh, it absolutely has more than the bike. Absolutely has more than the bike. Right. So now we have all of our pistons working in the groups. So on here we've got up and down on the printhead, and on the second page we've got in and out on the printhead. So, indeed. Again, chat, I'm saving you from some of this humour. Dear, Tom is on one. Requirement to join my server shipwise. Oh, what, the survival server I'm on? The start we gave ourselves was 50,000 PCU used however you wanted. That was how we set it up. And some people set up ground bases like I did. Some people went completely fleet based. Some people set themselves up and then got wiped 3 or 4 times. You know, fun times. Well, it was the first time we properly played with the Reavers mod, and yeah, Reavers in space are no joke. They're not too much of a problem on planet, but yeah, on a space-based start, they're a problem. Tom, you need to stop whatever you're doing for a second, because I'm about to try and load a blueprint, and this may cause a lag spike. Cool. At least I remember to warn you this time. Right, loading the yellow miner blueprint. It's done, by the way. This is how much faster things are. I've already loaded the blueprint into the projector. We're good. Excellent. So for anyone asking if there is a noticeable difference between the Xbox One and the Series X, the answer is yes. Yes, there is. Holy. Right. But Dovahkiin, as for actually joining the server itself, it's a private server, so there aren't, you know, it's not a server that just anyone can join. So. Okay. I kind of want to centralise this, so it needs to move over 3 blocks. Do. Come on. There we go. So in theory, that should now be lined up with the centre of the printhead, unless I fail. No, I pushed it 1 block too far. Of course I did. What's up? What's the wow, Tom? There are a few design flaws with that thing. It's not actually finished being built yet. Well, yeah, normally there's about 12 hydrogen tanks on its arse, pulling it back down towards the ground. But we haven't built those yet. This is why we had so many problems with it down the mining hole. It's very good on the flat. Yeah, it's yeah, it's a very nice little miner once you finish building it. In fact, one thing I'm going to try and do, well, now we've got the printer up and running, is I'm going to stick the projector on that thing on and see if we can't actually finish it. Okay, something's not quite right there then, because it shouldn't just naturally tilt forwards. Right. Okay, this is ready for us to print near enough. Just got to add the extra bit of sprue to go to the drills. So, if anyone's not sure what I'm talking about when I refer to sprue, that is because both myself and Tom have spent far too many years building plastic toy soldiers. I think that is a fair... Yeah, Tom is agreeing with me for once. Well, I mean, we both still do it, so, you know, it's probably not too many years. Yeah, I was going to say there's probably at least 1 or 2 people on the stream at the minute that weren't born when we started playing with plastic toy soldiers. So, do I want a challenge? Delverkin, last time I said yes when you asked do I want a challenge, I ended up building a very, very crazy starfighter, so I will hear your challenge first before I accept or decline. And if it's a building challenge, I have a thread for those on my Discord. Please use. Because otherwise I will forget. And if it is a building challenge, all I'm going to do is suggest that you put it... I'll fix that block in a minute. Put it on the Discord. Because, to be blunt, I have a goldfish memory when it, you know, when we get to 9 o'clock on a Sunday night. I am not going to remember half of what goes on in chat. That's why I have it recorded. Cool. I think... Actually, I know what. I'm going to add one more run of sprue out the back of this. Because we have a natural anchor point at the back of the vehicle. Ah, one too far out. Excellent. Cool. Well, yeah, but you... Let me guess, you didn't think to manually move the weight to your back cargo containers? I was just about to get to that one, or is this a case of 10 hasn't taught you how to do that yet? Actually, that is a fair point, actually. I believe that may have been something like session 2 or 3. Yes, I will definitely remind you how to do that. Because yes, that vehicle does drive a lot better when it isn't entirely back heavy or front heavy, whichever you're having problems with, because it does both quite nicely. Right, I've got all the sprue in position for one of your yellow miners. Let's dump those in there and let's see what our component situation is. Okay, let's just hide empty, and what I'm going to do... Hey look, there's 24k of ice suddenly appeared in the system. Wonder where that came from. So, let's push everything. Did you do what? Dovahkiin. Hey, well done, Tom. Tom has just managed to successfully park the miner first time. I am very pleased with him. Because that can sometimes be a real faff. Right, Dovahkiin, as I said... Excellent. Well done, Tom. Well done. Right, Dovahkiin. Voyager at full scale with complete interior is probably beyond the scope of Xbox Space Engineers. That is a large ship. That is a... No, he's talking Star Trek Voyager. It's still big enough, and the amount of detail you would need to put inside it, I think you'd run out of PCU. Oh, he's trying to get me to do it. Right, so for the benefit of chat, because you can't hear Tom whittering away in my ear, what Tom is suggesting is that Dovahkiin should attempt it himself, and that I should attempt Defiant. That would be... I don't use Beta Dovahkiin. I don't use it very much. I use it for screenshots, and that's about it. But yeah, so... Yeah, Tom has suggested that because I have a certain affinity for the Defiant class, that I should have a go at building one of those instead. Which is not a bad shout, because I do like me a Defiant. Do like me a Defiant. I'm really hoping that those pistols... It's because I haven't told it to do anything. It's now ready. The thing is, we've got to make sure we've actually got enough parts in the system for it to build things. Which is what I was just getting round to doing. So I was just having... Well, you've got to have the bits built. It won't order them up in the assembler for you. You've got to have all of the parts built. So I'm just having a quick look and seeing if there's anything obvious that I'm going to need to order up some parts for before we get round to building this. Otherwise we're going to have a fair number of part-built things. So... first thing I'm going to order up is a couple of batteries. In fact, I'm just going to order up 10 batteries. Because we're going to need them. I also know that I'm going to need to check the hydrogen thrusters to see what they need. Yeah, I'm going to need to order up some more construction components and some more large steel tubes is what we're going to need there. We don't need the grids. We've got plenty of grids, we've got plenty of steel plate. Yeah, we've got 5 and a bit thousand steel plate. That'll be fine. But we haven't got many construction components and we haven't got many large steel tubes, so we'll get some of those done. We'll just throw 1,000 of each on. What else are we running short of? We could probably do with another couple of hundred computers. That'll do. Oh, do we have much bulletproof glass? Not really. Gonna need that for the cockpit. Other than that, I think I might just for safety's sake order up a few more motors and things. Why can I see the solar panel running around behind me? Looks like a shark's fin on stream. I can just see it going up and down over the edge of the printing pit. What are you doing with the dune buggy? You just wanted to see how badly it drove, didn't you? Fair enough. Cobalt is the other thing that we need. We're down to 1.3k of it. If you're looking for things to keep you entertained, or are you hanging around to see the 3D printer work? As I keep coming this way and keep needing to jump, let's actually put a floor in. There we go. Easiest way of doing it. Is it connected up to the grid? Right, in which case I'll just open it up and search for drill. No, the drills are very much full. Very much full. Right, so what you need to do, jump in one of the control seats. It's just going to be easier. There's one on the top floor. Let me know when you're there. Cool. Right, you need to... Yeah, that's fine. It's because I'm sat in a control seat as well. Control seat just means you're not going to run out of power accidentally while you're doing it. So, what you need to do is left trigger onto your inventory menu. And then you should have, at the minute, your inventory on the left-hand side and the grid on the right-hand side. Cool. Left thumbstick will change the left-hand panel. Right thumbstick click will change the right-hand panel. So what you need to do is click both of them once, so it's showing you the full inventory of everything that's on the grid on both panels. So you should be on the little tick box at the top. You see you've got 5 icons. You've got a tick box, a lightning bolt, a rocket, a cube and a cog. Yeah, you should have the tick box highlighted in white on both of the panels. Cool. You now have search boxes. So, this is why keyboards make life a lot quicker. Because what you need to do is on one side of the screen type cargo, and on the other search box type ice, and then you can move from one side to the other. Where would you start building Voyager? My suggestion, if you're going to try and recreate a Star Trek ship like that and you want to do it legitimately one-to-one with full interior detail, I would literally slice it up deck by deck and build a deck at a time. So I would start on deck 1 saucer section and I would just layer it in one deck at a time. That's the only way you are going to be able to do that without either 1, going mad, or 2, getting halfway down the saucer section and realising you're going to have to completely redesign the ship. So yeah, that would be my suggestion on building Voyager, or any Star Trek ship really. Just as a bit of a preview, the next project, once I've done my project map tile that I'm doing on Wednesdays, once that's finished, which hopefully we will be by Halloween, because I'm kind of planning on using it for something at Halloween. Once that's done, I will then be doing a Nova class or a Steam runner from Star Trek. That was on my to-do list, because they are small enough to actually work as a Space Engineer's ship, and they do look kind of cool. The main reason I don't want to do the Defiant is there are no reliable blueprints of the Defiant. It changes sizes 3 times during the TV series. It changes number of decks and all sorts of horribleness, so there isn't a single layout for that like there is for the others. Are you having problems, Tom? Okay, is the container you're trying to move it into full? Oh. Oh, that's weird. Oh. Yeah, no, red just means it's on a different grid. However, it won't let anything move, which makes me wonder if something isn't damaged on... Aha! Found your problem! I believe, Tom, you may have hit the ground a little hard at some point with the mining vehicle. Because you're missing the conveyor tube that attaches the drills to the rest of the vehicle. You see this lonely thruster here? Right in front of me? That's normally got 3 friends and 3 conveyor tubes above it. Yeah, when I said, did you, that was knowing full well that you had. Right. Yes. Right, let's quickly fix that, and then we'll be able to empty the drills. In fact, they might even empty themselves. Right. Let's give this another try, shall we? Drill in one side, cargo in the other. That'll do. Yep, the drills have all emptied themselves now. I thought it was a bit unusual. Yeah, I can't remember where our nearest cobalt mine is. We've got a few. Yeah, what I'm looking for is to see if we've got anything which is cobalt and something else that we might need. But no, the only one we've got is we've got a cobalt and ice mine. Which is... how far away? 6 kilometers the opposite direction to where you're going. So... yeah. Tom should not be allowed to drive in Space Engineers. That's fighting words, that is, Dovahkiin. I think because you didn't even notice you'd broken the mining ship. And you can't say that that vehicle isn't sturdy because of the amount of abuse it took when we got it stuck in the hull. It's sturdy enough. Right, let's get the printer started. Oh, look at that glorious construction. And I haven't had to weld a single block of it. It's beautiful. Right, now because we're doing this, trying to keep the resources used to a minimum, I am going to be doing lots of coming out here and checking. Like, for example, it hasn't welded that conveyor tube, which suggests to me we might be running low on interior plate. We are definitely running out of girders, so I need to put some more of those on, and we're already out of motors. So, let's get the old construction queue going. Let's get the motors running. Let's have a look in my parts container. No, parts, not pats. Let's see, right. So, yeah, we're completely out of girders. We need to order some more of those up. You know what, I reckon we've got enough resources for me to order up 1,000 of all of the common ones. And we're just... Oh, that's 2,000 girders. We don't need that many of... yeah, we don't need that many of them for now. I am not ordering 1,000 explosives with Tom around. I can think of several reasons not to order 1,000 explosives with you around, Tom. No, explosives definitely damage things in this, Tom. Right. While you're out there, Tom, the other thing it reckons we were going to run out of is silver. No, it was the gold that's a long way away. Gold is like 30 kilometres away. That's a ripsaw job. What we got for silver? Actually, no, I didn't call it silver, did I? I used the proper blooming terms for it. Oh, it's 2.4 kilometres away, but it's in completely the opposite direction. So that's not you can get it on the way round sort of thing. Oh, actually, I was looking for gold, not silver there. Did I use the wrong thing? Nope. Oh no. Yeah, there's silver is nowhere near you, is the short version. It's all back this direction. Right, so let's have a look and see where we've got to with our vehicle. So the good thing is the batteries are already built, and because it's physically attached to the base, that means the batteries are charging. So that's always helpful. Well, that's interesting. So it can't build that because there's not a welder directly below it. Interesting. So we'll quickly help it with that. I'll ignore the fact that I just keep getting the occasional uh-oh from Tom in the corner of my ear. I'm just going to ignore that. Right, so those are all built. That's all built. So yeah, we're just waiting for the detector and the radio components. Move those up the list a little bit. So let's move those up. Queue up detector components? I don't think I did. That was silly of me. Definitely going to need those. Right. Hey, there we go. Right. And now all we do is this. We just slowly lift the pistons, and I'm actually going to move, change the setting on those a bit, because that -5 is a little bit on the spicy side. So we'll go with -0.1, I think. Now, that'll be a little bit calmer. Just a little bit calmer. Right. So again, normally I'd just have a massive stockpile of parts and I'd just let this run, but we don't have the spare parts for that. So Yeah, a lot of this interior stuff isn't going to get built until we've got that central spine built. So we're going to need to haul it just a tiny bit further up. Yeah, all those... Tom, how can I help? I would love some good news. You've got the miner stuck, haven't you? What are you then? If you're not stuck, Tom, what are you? Right. How big a mess are you in, Tom? Right. Have you tried shifting all the materials to the back cargo containers? Any mining? Okay. Right. Do you want me to come over? You just wanted to share the fun that you've managed to mess the miner up somehow. Okay, I see. I see. Okay, so I need to move construction components further up. I need to move displays further up. What are we doing in here? Hey, we've got the gyros up. Oh, for some reason we don't have that middle gyro though. That's going to be a right pain. Okay, so I need the bits for a gyro. Ooh, and looks like, yeah, construction components are slowing everything down at the moment. Get those gyros as well. And for anyone wondering, yes, I can hear the horrible noises being made by the drill rig bouncing off of stuff at the minute. I am just choosing to ignore them right now. Yeah, and displays, I'm going to need to move up as well. I mean, Voyager was built as a long-range science vessel. So it might make a good diplomatic vessel. I mean, it's a difficult one. Depends what you call a diplomatic vessel. They're not a thing that we have in real life, so it's a difficult thing to judge. It depends on what you in your own setting deem suitable for diplomacy. I mean, I did have a go. Tom's contribution is big guns, apparently, on a diplomatic vessel. The diplomatic ship I built was also a command ship. So it was a dual role, because I couldn't... Other than a massive meeting room, I couldn't think of anything that needed to go on a diplomatic ship. And the decision I took with that one was the ship itself wouldn't be heavily armed, but it would be able to hold a decent-sized squadron of escort fighters and gunships. So that was how I decided to deal with that diplomacy side of things. Right, let's see how we're doing. Oh, that's not good.
Your health is critical.
Spiders are back, Tom. No, I wasn't expecting you to do much to help. I was more letting you know if they're attacking me here, there is a good chance that they might end up attacking you wherever you are. That was more what the shout was for. I can deal with the little biters over here, now that I know they're around. They just caught me in a menu. Right. Where did you go? Actually, where did you go? That's no fair, it just ate me and ran off. That's very unsporting. Come back, I want to shoot you. Okay, as I was saying before I was rudely interrupted by a spider, let's check and see how we're doing with our build. Okay, so cockpit's built, those are still clipping into the floor, everything up there is built. I'm going to be paranoid now, checking behind me the whole time. Big thrusters are built, med bay's built, survival kit's built, that's an important one. Okay, I think we're ready to jack this up the next level. Doobie-doo. There we go. That's our next line of stuff built. So again, this is... Normally you would just build up such a stockpile, you wouldn't have to keep coming backwards and forwards like I am to check everything. But as you can see just there, we had something that was only partly welded. Oh, we've actually damaged our own window. Fantastic. Because it's got thrusters firing directly into it. It's fine, the welders actually fix it every time we turn them off. Also, I've just realised why that spider may not have come back. There's a good chance it may have been on the welding pit while the welding pit was on, and therefore is now cooked spider. Which I am not seeing a problem with. It's looking like... Yeah, because all of that stuff that's still shaded in... shouldn't have been built yet because it's still clipped into the glass, which has fixed itself. There we go. Next layer welding in. And what I'm going to do at this point is hope that we've still got some of that lovely ice that Tom went and collected in the system, because the reason we need the ice let's just get a full inventory's full worth of it then, is because this is a hydrogen fueled miner. So, unless we actually get some ice into its system, it's not going to be doing much flying. We do have atmos on it in places, but not many. I hope it's enough to get it round to its docking port, which we've built for it up here. But I just want to make sure we've got that little bit of hydrogen in the tanks. In fact... Oh, this is going to be a nightmare. Oh, that's a good point. Oh, the hydrogen engine's on. They are. Well, you can all get turned off. Hello. Miner. don't want those on, what we also want is a group. These are going to be the only thrusters on the base at the minute, so we can group these nicely. How many decks does Voyager have? Off the top of my head, Dovahkiin, I haven't got a Scooby-Doo. Your best bet for that one would be look on the Memory Alpha Star Trek wiki, because that is the official wiki. Right. So, the reason I've set those thruster groups up is... where have they gone? We want to be able to turn off both the thrusters and the hydrogen engines. The thrusters so that we don't waste power, or fuel I should say, and the engines because we don't want them generating electricity unnecessarily. So, right, with all of that sorted, get the last little bit done, which should be all of the landing gear. So, all of our landing gear is in place. All of our thrusters appear to be working. So, last thing we check is we go and check the blueprint itself. Projector, yellow miner. It is apparently missing one atmospheric thruster. Where the heck has it failed to build an atmo thruster? So, there's a pair there, they're fine. There's a row of 3 there, they're all fine. There's 2 rows of 3 down there, they're all good. Can't see. Okay, help me out, chat. Can anyone see where the heck this missing atmo thruster is? Oh, I wonder if it's on one of those banks of 3 up there. Nope, you exist, and you exist. Those 2 exist because they're pumping out thrust into the floor. Those 3 exist. That one exists. Ah, found it! Staring me literally in the face. How goes your work, Tom? You're getting there. Have you got the miner unstuck yet? Is the miner in a position where it's able to drive out? Uh-huh, it will do soon, okay. Right then, and the good news is, chat, we're now done. We have our first yellow miner. So we just hack off the sprue here, free it. And as always, when you're cutting something off the sprue, you occasionally get a little bit overzealous and cut into something you weren't meant to. Fortunately, it's quite easy just to weld it back up in Space Engineers. Not always that simple when you're dealing with it in real life. And it's loose! And it sinks like a stone because it hasn't got any hydrogen engines running. Right, so we now want to turn off that projector. Oh, and I need to make sure that our rotor is set up properly, because the advantage of this particular setup... Yeah, you see, I haven't set limits on the rotor. So, the plan for the rotor... I'm going to check that this is going the right direction before I slam our print head into a wall. Yep, cool, 90 is the direction I want. And then fall down a hole, apparently. Right, the plan for the rotor system here is to have it so that we can swing the rotor completely clear of the print bed and get everything out the way. So we now want to have our rotor set to reverse, and we just need to give it... Oh, actually, before we do that, let's withdraw all of our pistons. So we pull that up like that. That's just going to pull that nicely out the way. So, right, that's that out the way, and now we should be able to give this rotor a little bit of velocity. Give it 0.1 and see what happens. If I remember correctly, yeah, that's it. This can't have... No, we're going to need more velocity than that. There we are. And it just nicely moves the print head out of the way of whatever's being printed. Parks it off to one side. And it's just about out the way. If you cut off the sprue, it's perfectly out the way. Right then. And we have our mining ship. Oh, didn't have anywhere near enough ice to get it onto its pad. Let's turn that off. Now, let's just turn it all off for a second. And let's get some more ice out of the system here. Wow, we are... we may be in need of another ice run as well, Tom. Right. And we're connected. So that is now all hooked up to the basis systems and can start refueling properly. What I need to do is make a group for its batteries. All three of them. So we can put those onto recharge as needed. Get some power into those. And we are also going to want to be able... Right, I'm actually going to group these into two. So we're going to have yellow miner main tanks. And we're going to have some yellow miner reserve tanks. So the plan being, we don't touch the reserve tanks. They just stay on stockpile the whole time, and that's that. The main tanks, however, will be switched on and off stockpile depending on whether we're flying it or not. That's the plan there. Right, so that is now charging up and fueling up. And I'm going to imagine, yeah, we are out of ice. That has absolutely rinsed the base of its ice supply, so I believe it is time for me to go and join Tom in the world of mining. For your benefit, chat, I've just had a very definite message from Tom that he doesn't want me to come and join him. Which means you and I both know that what we're actually going to do is go and join him. Right, so it's R2 units. Stay on. Do we actually have control of our survival kit? No, we don't. Let's have control of our survival kit. So let's get the lights on. For anyone that's new that's joining us, I've just noticed our numbers have bumped a little. This is the Ripsaw. This is the solution to all of our problems at the moment, because it's essentially a mobile base on way too many wheels. To the point where you have to lower and raise the suspension depending on what you're doing with it. So, I'm going to go and find some ice. No, I'm not going to be mean and go. Tom is obviously trying to extract himself from a situation, so I'm going to leave Tom extracting himself from a situation. I'm going to go back over that way to where we have both iron, cobalt and silver, which is all stuff that we could do with. And I'm also going to keep an eye on the ore deposits that I'm running over, because this thing does have a full-size ore detector on it. And if I can avoid doing the full 6 kilometres, I will. This thing is good fun driving. It really is. It doesn't really care too much about the terrain it's going over. This took a while to get the suspension set up right, but once you got it going, I think even Tom doesn't mind driving the Ripsaw. Tom is quite choosy about his vehicles. I'm waiting for the little devil in my ear to dispute that fact. Oh, he didn't. Okay. Yeah, chat. Well, I apologise in advance for you not... Well, I apologise again, I should say, for you not being able to hear the Tom. We will make sure we fix that before next week's stream. One thing I will say for the Ripsaw... Oh, there's cobalt. That'll... might as well get on with mining some of that while it's nearby. So, We now turn this into a mining station by just slamming the suspension down into the floor, because that means that we can easily get to the connectors on the bottom. Where's that cobalt? Where's that juicy cobalt? Come on, let me get it. I want me some cobalt. While I'm digging cobalt out of the ground, it's a chance to give you guys a bit of an update on stuff that's going on the channel in the next month or so. One of which is something I keep meaning to ask Tom about and just haven't got round to it yet. So, at some point later this month, well, I say later this month, it's now probably going to be late, early next month. One of my other IRL friends has invited me to join him on a playthrough of Generation Zero, which is a survival shooter set in Sweden in the 1980s, is the general summary I got. It's meant to be a robot apocalypse, which sounds interesting. So yeah, that's going to be a thing that I'm going to be playing with him. So we haven't worked out what day that's going to be. It might end up replacing the Wednesday creative streams. It might be in addition to the normal streaming schedule, so it's still very early days yet. But yeah, there will be a little bit of co-op backup. And I also am aware that we're going to have to get Tom into space at some point very soon. That's a priority. So I can imagine that the next one of these is going to be hopefully us making orbit, maybe, if we can get the rocket printed. I reckon we can get the rocket printed next week, and then maybe the week after we hit space. You can't hear me over the drilling. Oh, that's a problem. Let me see what I can do with my audio then. Thank you for letting me know about that, Star Driver. Can I lower the game sounds? Okay, I have lowered the I've lowered the game sounds. Let me know if it's still absolutely obnoxious when I'm drilling or not. As I said at the start of the stream, this is a different Xbox, so we're still tweaking the settings. Is that any better or worse? I mean, it may well be that if it's still really bad, I may add a mod to the save, because the Sneaky Sounds mod has made it onto Xbox finally, so we can quite... Still too loud, okay. There is not a lot I can do about that then, because... Did that actually make any difference at all? Ah, I know what's going on. Right. Try it now. Is that any better? Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed I'm not breaking anyone's eardrums. Because there is nothing worse when you're watching a stream than your ears suddenly bleeding because of some of the noises. One of the streamers I watch plays Project Zombie, and the car alarms in that game. I don't know who created that sound effect, but they hate headphone users. It is the most over loud sound effect I've ever heard, you know, in a game, and that includes the drills and space engines. I will try turning myself up. I've got my volume pretty loud. But... yeah, my voice chat volume is absolutely maxed. And the game sound is now turned down significantly. So... the only thing I can check... what's Twitch? Got... right. Hopefully... I've just fixed the problem for you. Ah, Voyager has 16 decks, fair enough. Right, is that any better, Star Driver? Oh yeah, the volume settings on Twitch are a nightmare. However, I have tweaked it in Twitch itself, so hopefully that's a little less obnoxious. At some point I really should check how much cobalt I've dug out of this hole in the ground. What's giving you issues then? Hey, it works. Excellent. Ah, and the only way you're going to get that cleared is with a grid-based drill. You're never going to hit that with a hand drill. Oh. Yeah, right. Okay, chat. So, update on Tom's situation. He's managed to get one of those tiny little single voxel lumps of dirt in between his cockpit and the back of the drills, which means he can't hit them with the grid-based drills. And for anyone that's played SE, you will know that those little 1 pixel voxels are impossible to hit with a hand drill because they have too small a hitbox. Right, okay. Bear with me for a moment and I will see what I can do to assist. Though, to be honest, I think the only option we've got in that case is going to be a little bit potentially cheaty.
Inventory full.
Depending on your situation, but I'll come and have a look in a second. Once I've remembered where my hole out is. Oh, there it is. There's the hole out. Cool. I'm glad the sound's working for you, Stardrow. Right, let me get this last pebble that's rolling around here, because otherwise all that's going to do is generate lag for us, and then we will go and see the situation that Tom has ended up in. Yeah, come on, out the hole. Out the hole. How much cobalt did we get? Oh, 10k. That's not terrible for hand mining. Right, and up we go. Okay, where's the Tom? Tom is that way. Cool, right. Tally-ho! Let's get over to Tom. Let's see if we can help. I don't think we're going to be able to help too much, but I'll have a look. Yeah, what it might need is... well, what I basically want to have a look at is whether you're in a position that we could realistically get one of the yellow miners into to dig you out. Yeah. So, what I'm... yeah, that's... so, yeah, so what I'm going to pop over and do, because we've got about half hour left, so... okay, Dovahkiin, have a good sleep. Thank you for coming along. But yeah, so I'm going to come over, we'll have a look, and if it's the sort of thing that we should be able to get the yellow miner in to do, then we'll have to leave it stuck down another hole again. We'll fill up the miner on hydrogen and we'll come and dig it out next time. I need to be a bit more careful driving this Ripsaw. I use this on my server for those that haven't experienced the Ripsaw before, and occasionally I get a little bit too confident of its abilities. And yeah, I've broken it a couple of times just through me being a little too carefree with my driving. Oh, hey, look, there's some nickel and cobalt. Tom, why does it look like you're 300 metres underground? Oh, Tom. You did that properly, didn't you? Yeah, How much of your personal hydrogen reserves have you got? Tom? Tom, can you hear me? Because I can't hear you at the minute. Chat, I appear to have lost Tom entirely on comms, which is a problem, because he's a long way down a hole. Oh, he's back. He's back. Ah, battery problems. Okay. What's your personal hydrogen reserve like? I'm thinking of getting you out of the hole. Ignore the vehicle for now, but get you back out, and we'll have to deal with it. Yeah, we'll have to get the yellow miner up and running, and then we can dig it out. So, well, if you want to lift back to base, the Ripsaw's directly above you. But we definitely need to get some ice going. We need to get a Ripsaw full of ice. So, where is your nearest ice deposit, sir? Yes, that you are aware of, at least. Cool. You want to jump on, or is it walking distance far away? Should I just turn on all my ice deposits and see which one we've got? Oh yeah, we've got one 800 metres away. Jump on. Yep. I think we're heading for... Yeah, we're heading for completely different deposits as well. Yours is closer. Yep, yeah, I'm just turning Ripsaw around. Which is surprisingly much easier to do when it goes off the ground. I must have basically run over that ice deposit on my way up to you. Cool. So I can see. Let me position Ripsaw a little bit better. I would suggest you stay down the hole for the minute. Mainly so that I don't accidentally run you over with a giant tyre. Because what I will do is park virtually on top of the hole and then slam the suspension back down. Wow, you have been going at this one, haven't you? I am impressed with your mining efforts, sir. Wheeled miners are always tricky.
Inventory full.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately that miner really needs to be finished before we use it properly. Because to start with, the hydrogen tanks that it's missing off the back really help balance it out properly. Make it far less front heavy. Also, the hydrogen thrusters on it are quite useful for getting it out of holes in the ground. Yeah, I'm still here. I am still here. It's all good. I am just quickly refilling my 2 hydrogen bottles now we actually have some ice. Now, the one problem with loading up the Ripsaw for something like this is it's not plumbed in. So we've got to manually empty it at the other end. No, the Ripsaw's got a plug to plug it in. It doesn't have a cargo unloading point. No, because there's no... It's a single width block vehicle. There's no way of running a cargo tube up the back of the Ripsaw. So all the cargo's in the middle. No, we've... so what I'm actually thinking is... We've got about 20k's worth in the Ripsaw, which will fill it up. Or it will as long as I turn its oxygen generators off. What I'm thinking is I'll jump back to base and grab the dune buggy, because we can plug the dune buggy in. So, I'll run Ripsaw back to base. If you want to dump whatever you've just mined into the bottom of Ripsaw, and we'll leave that as reserve. Cool. I'll run this thing back to base. Base is that way. Moving! Yeah, so I'll run Ripsaw back. I'll go and get the dune buggy. And that'll be a whole different kettle of fish driving that thing in and out of here. Really isn't. It's gonna be interesting getting that dune buggy in here. I mean, the Ripsaw doesn't really care because it's a Ripsaw. As I'm currently demonstrating, it drives quite happily on its side. Oh, and we find another nickel deposit whilst we're driving like a lunatic. But yeah, I'm not really sure how I'm going to get the dune buggy in here. So that could be a fun little adventure. Whoa, that was a kicker and a half. You know it's a good one when the rock you hit spins your vehicle nearly through 90 degrees. However, chat, I think that quite ably demonstrates what I was saying about me and getting overconfident driving this vehicle. Because I will just happily launch this thing. Right. So, let's do a quick vehicle switcheroo. Grab the dune buggy. Right. And I am actually going to make one really quick adjustment to the dune buggy while I'm here, because I have just realised there is a vital thing that we could do with this thing having that it doesn't. That is a way of us refilling hydrogen bottles. I also really should recharge the Ripsaw. I think that, looking at time, that's going to be a problem for another night. So let's just get it facing the right direction at least. The Ripsaw connects to that conveyor connection there. The one that I may have just accidentally run over. Completely run over. Ooh. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why you should never ever ever rush trying to dock your massive rover to the end of a piston. That's what you would call a whoopsie. Right. So let's grab the parts for this O2H2 generator. I'm going to replace this because I'm never going to remember I've broken it otherwise. Thanks, Space Engineers. It would be nice if you actually gave me all the parts. Right. I'm coming. I'm a-coming. I'm just having a slight argument with some damage I did to the base. It's all fine. I'm also making it so we can actually refuel our hydrogen bottles off of the dune buggy. That was the argument I was having with the base. Right. I'm now trying to work out how to get the dune buggy to where you are. There should be, but I'm not sure where that is. And when we found that ice, we found it on the attack bikes, which have a very different view of easy to access terrain than this thing does. Okay, I think I found a valley. Oh yeah, I know that bit. Getting close isn't the problem. The problem is I'm driving something that has the turning circle of a small glacier. And there are some very, very unfriendly bits of terrain in between me and you. So, this is an exercise in pathfinding. I think I found a path. I have also just realised a small problem with bringing this thing. It doesn't have a second seat. For your return journey to base. Fortunately for you, I have 2 hydrogen bottles on me. Should give you enough to fly back. Yeah. I'm back! You're standing over the hole. Okay, because there's multiple holes, according to my screen. as you can see, this thing doesn't like manoeuvring. What I'm trying to do is... Well, can you see the black O2H2 generator that I attached to the back? Well, to the side at the back, in between the last two road wheels. That's got a downward facing connection port on it. Oh yeah, fair point. Fair point. So, right, back to Diggy Diggy Hole. With a vehicle now far more capable of carrying cargo. Just realised it's got a basic assembler stuck to the side of it. I don't think anywhere on this vehicle is a basic refinery. Or a survival kit. Nope, neither. Ah, good, it has got one battery that's almost fully charged. Hoover up all the little bits. Yeah, I agree with the idea. Unfortunately, what also that means it's now easier to drop a vehicle down the hole. True, at least we can see it. What I'll have to do is bring some materials out here at some point. And then we can build a proper little mining station out here. The only problem is if we build something out here, the voxels will never regenerate. Which means it becomes a finite resource. Yeah, we tried that, Tom. We tried making a mobile base, and what happened? It got stuck. Either of the ones we've currently got stuck? Either of the badly designed ones. Sorry, I have just remembered you can only hear my half of this conversation. I apologise for how difficult to follow it probably is.
Inventory full.
But yeah, I think both of our current ground-based mining vehicles do need quite an overhaul. Well, yours needs an overhaul. The little hydrogen mining one just needs finishing construction. We built it as a stopgap measure and it sort of stayed that way. Oh yeah. Yeah. And, well, you've learnt exactly what the physics are like in this game. They are mean and evil and called Clang. And Clang is our Lord and Saviour. If we don't say that, Clang will visit us again, and again, and again. I mean, it's not terrible, but yeah, it's wildly inconsistent. You'll be pleased to know that we're just over 66k of ice on board. I mean, it's not a bad start. problem is what we really need to do is get enough ice on board that we can fuel the hydrogen miner up enough to get it out here, and then we can load it up and refuel it at the same time. That's the hurdle we need to overcome, is we need to get that hydrogen miner, or I just need to run one of my purely atmospheric thruster miners that I've already designed off of the printer. Now that we have a printer, we have options.
Inventory full.
Like, for example, the little one that you keep getting stuck. We can scrap that, and you know my ridiculous multi-wheeled scuttler? The thing that... I've got a driller version of the scuttler. Basically, it's got a hole cut in the middle of the chassis and a couple of drills on pistons that you just punch down through the bottom of it. Like yours, but on a much smaller scale. It is only designed for scraping ice out of ice lakes and snow, though, so I don't know if it's actually going to be that useful on Pertam, where there is neither. And it doesn't actually have... True, but I don't think it can dig deep enough, because it's only got 2 small grid pistons that it can extend. So it might just reach the top of this ice patch that we're digging out down here. Unless we can somehow get it down the hold. If we can make a ramp and get it down onto the ice, we're golden. Oh, probably.
Inventory full.
Yeah, I reckon we aim for about 100k by hand. That should let us get the... we're almost there as well, actually. I think if we just pick up all the loose stuff that's still down here, we might be good. Because we're at about 70... No, we're about 90k. So, if we just grab all the loose stuff that's kicking around down here, which I think we have. Can't see any more. But that should give us a solid start, if nothing else. And I'm just looking at the time. We've got about 6 minutes left on the stream, so... Right, let's see what we're at. We've got 74k in there and 33k in the O2H2 generator. Yeah. Yes. Right then, I'm assuming you would like a hydrogen bottle. There's one in the O2H2 generator. I mean, you might actually be able to surf the dune buggy out. It doesn't exactly go fast. Okay, this should be good for a laugh. You might be better off if you crouch, as stupid as that sounds. So, it was round here. It was very sharp left in a second. It doesn't fit through that hole in front, but it does just about fit through this one on the left here. You are still here. I know, I'm not trying to, for the record. No, for once I am not trying to throw you off the vehicle. Mainly because it's far too much effort to go back and get your stuff at this point. Because this thing does not... Well, actually, as lightly loaded as it is at the minute, it actually is quite pleasant to drive. That wider wheelbase at the back is really helping to keep it stable at the moment. It's much less liable to tip than the very first version of this was. Now, this is where I need to remember I'm not driving a Ripsaw. Because I like the idea of land ships. I like the idea of land ships. But oh, it has been done. It has been done. There are people that have made proper galleons on this game. If you're on PC, you're lucky enough, there is actually a liquid water mod. You can build stuff that actually floats. Hey look, more nickel. And some silicon. Yeah, the problem is, you basically need to be running a miniature supercomputer for the water mod to actually work. So that connector, yes. Because there's no way I want to unload this by hand. What I do need to do is I know what isn't in a good position, and that's me. If I manage to dock this thing up with it at full weight, I can blooming well do it while it's empty. It does have a little stubby tail. Yeah, we're getting there. It's fine. Ish. Now, if I remember correctly, I basically just had to crank the suspension down into the floor for this bit. This thing drives terrifyingly well, considering that it's dragging its suspension fittings along the floor. I'm not asking that to jump, I'm asking that to lower its suspension. Lined up. Check that I haven't knackered either of the connectors. Yeah, I had to use the gyro to lift the front off of the floor. Yeah. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how not to park a vehicle. I've just realised there's an emergency container with 75 steel plate as part of this vehicle. Steel plates. For building things to levy yourself out of a hole in the ground, for example. But yeah, so we now have a functioning 3D printer, which is awesome. Yeah. Now chat, do I tell Tom that there's a survival kit at the lab? Hey, the hydrogen miner's full. Tom, the yellow miner's full. Hydrogen. It's full of hydrogen. Yeah. Yeah, it is full. So, what I'm going to suggest we do next week, because we're just on finishing time, is one of us drives the dune buggy, the other one drives the ripsaw with the miner mounted on the buddy connector on the roof of the ripsaw, and we go and get some serious ice. So the one thing we're probably better off printing an Atmo miner and doing it, because otherwise we're going to be burning as much ice as we harvest, keep flying the hydrogen miner around. Yes, that is a spaceborne miner. The only reason it has Atmo thrusters is emergency. It's just that little bit of extra to slow it down. So, join me on the back of the dune buggy. So I'm thinking what we do with the dune buggy. Now we've got this upward pointing connector that you just crashed into. What I'm thinking is we put a connector so that we can dock a mining ship level with the top of these containers. So just stick it on a stick basically, so that we can unload, but we don't carry the mining ship on that. And then if we pop over to Ripsaw, Ripsaw has got a top-mounted connector specifically for carrying a mining vehicle. So we print off an Atmo miner, plug it into that, make sure we've modified the cargo hauler to be able to unload quickly. We may even mount a refinery, a little basic refinery on that as a backup, like we've got on here, because this has been useful. Oh, and that thing also needs a hydrogen engine, because at the minute the only way it can recharge its batteries is the solar panels, and that's a problem. Yeah, we don't appear to have picked the best... Well, I say picked. We weren't given the best starting spot when it comes to daylight. So, hence I wanted to get the vehicles back on charge. In fact, I may actually put them both on recharge now that they're docked up to the base. So that's that's Ripsaw on recharge. Have I set the batteries up on this? I have! And that's this one on recharge as well. So we'll get both the support vehicles fully charged up. And yeah, we'll get a miner built for next week. I will just find one of my Atmo miner designs that I've already used, so that we don't have to go through the fun and games of testing a design. Let's go with expedient for this one. And yeah, so we'll do that. Dock it up to the Ripsaw, and both of us head out and see what we can get in terms of ice. Very quickly, I'm going to have a laugh. How much stone have we still got left in the system? Wow, we have processed all of that stone. Yep, there is 1.7k of it, and that is all in the Ripsaw from my mining earlier that I haven't unloaded yet. Which reminds me, I'm going to unload the Ripsaw quickly while I remember. That's what I'm just in the process of emptying out. That's the connector on the Ripsaw. Cockpit 2 might be the Ripsaw's connector. Is it the same colour as the connector? Yeah, that's the Ripsaw's cockpit then. That's a bit random. Ah, no, I know what happened. You know you died last week. Your stuff is... No, your stuff is still in the connector in the bottom of the Ripsaw, because I'm looking at it. There is a full set of tools and weapons. It's the front connector, not the back connector. So the furthest one away. Because there's two on the bottom of Ripsaw. And there's 4k of cobalt in the cockpit. If you've got the room. I've got it. I've done it. It's done. It's got. I'm just seeing. And we have a reserve of material on Ripsaw. We've got 2k of cobalt, about 7k of iron, and a little bit of silicon and nickel. So it can still operate as a mobile base should we need it to. It's also got some pre-done parts on here. So, but yeah, I think that will do us for this evening. So thank you to everyone in chat for joining us. I hope you had fun. I will be back on Wednesday continuing the map tile project. That's a silly project. I don't know if I've mentioned this one to you, Tom. I foolishly decided that I've recreated the board game Space Hulk in Space Engineers. Well, I've decided that I'm going to build a map for Halloween using the system, and because I've now got the Series X rather than the Xbox One, I can now locally host for up to 6 people on Xbox. So I was going to try and arrange for yourself and a few of the guys that still play on console to see if they wanted to have a go on a stream with me running the map and you guys trying to deal with it. Obviously depending on availability and stuff, but we'll see if we can make it happen. And depending on who's around from the community, we may throw it open, but that's a logistical nightmare. So I'm going to try IRL friends first, and then we'll see how it goes. So anyway, thank you very much for joining us stream. We actually, apart from getting a mining vehicle stuck down a hole, actually had a pretty successful stream. You know, we've got ice back in the system. We've got a fully fueled miner. We've got cobalt back in the system. The only thing we're really short of at the minute is silver and ice, and we're always going to be short of ice because we're trying to fuel a hydrogen miner. Our oxygen tank. Oh no! Our base's hydrogen tank is also full. I mean, it's a diddy little hydrogen tank back here, but it is full. So that's a bonus. We have some in reserve. Also, chat, we will try and figure out what the heck is going on with the comms between now and next week. So there's all of that, and probably some more stuff that will go completely sideways for us, because it always does. Let's be honest, nothing ever goes to plan with us. We wouldn't have it any other way. So, right, thank you very much, chat, and I will see you all next time.